Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together.
What you know, Alibiers, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. It is Wednesday, December 18th, 1 week until Christmas, not even close to ready. I don't know about all y'all, but I need another month. And a big thank you before we get started to everybody who corrected the pronunciation of Luigi Mangione's attorney's name. I've been known to butcher a name or two in my day, and this was no different. So thanks for the heads up. Speaking of Luigi, a grand jury in New York has indicted Luigi on 11 counts, including first-degree murder in furtherance of terrorism. The possible sentence for that is mandatory, life in prison without parole. We talked on the last episode about how that terrorism charge could enhance that New York charge to first-degree murder, and that's what they went for. What else was he charged with? 2 counts of second-degree murder. The penalties for that, 25 to life. 2 counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. 4 counts of third-degree criminal possession of a weapon. 1 count of fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon. And 1 count of second-degree criminal possession of a forged instrument. The Manhattan District Attorney told reporters the intent was to sow terror, and this was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. It occurred in one of the most bustling parts of our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike, commuters and business people just starting out on their day. What does the crime of terrorism mean in New York? Well, the law says a person is guilty of a crime of terrorism where there is intent to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of government by intimidation or coercion, or affect the conduct of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. When investigators talked to Luigi's mother the day before he was arrested, she didn't indicate the suspect's photo was Luigi, but she did say the shooting might be something she could see him doing. They were going to forward the tip by the San Francisco Police Department to the NYPD the next day, but Luigi was arrested before they did. People close to Luigi's family said his mother had been looking for him for 8 months to a year and was doing everything she could to find him. When will Luigi go to New York to face those charges? There's a chance it could be soon. District Attorney Bragg said there are indications Luigi may waive his right to contest his extradition at a hearing which is set for tomorrow, December 19th in Pennsylvania. If he doesn't, a spokesperson for the governor of New York told NBC News she would file an extradition order and paperwork as soon as an indictment was handed down against Luigi, which, as we know, it has been. His attorney in Pennsylvania, Thomas Dickey, said Luigi will plead not guilty to the charges in both Pennsylvania and New York. As you guys know, this case is all over the news. I've done a ton of episodes on this, and there are already 4 documentaries about Luigi in the works. The first is set to air tomorrow, December 19th on 2020. A second one will be by Dan Abrams, which is set to come out in February. Legal experts are already starting to express concern it could be hard to find an impartial jury, with one legal analyst telling Newsweek he has never seen an alleged murderer receive so much sympathy, and to many, Luigi is a hero of sorts. There's also worries that a pro-Luigi supporter could try to be a stealth juror when this eventually goes to trial. That's the latest on the Luigi Mangione front. I will update tomorrow after his hearing. Moving on to Rex Heuermann, the suspected Long Island serial killer. He was arrested in July of last year. He's been charged with a 7th murder of 24-year-old Valerie Mack. She was a sex worker in Philadelphia and disappeared in 2000. Prosecutors say the planning document that was found on Heuermann's personal computer references the site where parts of her body were found first in Manorville, New York. That document was also created in 2000, the same year she went missing. In 2011, partial remains were found on Gilgo Beach. The superseding indictment says Rex Heuermann caused the death of Valerie Mack on or about November 19th, 2000. And just a trigger warning, this is graphic. But prosecutors say that he used rope to bind Valerie, a handsaw to dismember her, a sharp object to mutilate one of her breasts, and also to remove a tattoo from her foot that they say would make it harder to identify her. He was in court yesterday for these new charges, and he told the judge, "Your Honor, I am not guilty of any of these charges." Prosecutors also said in their searches of Heuermann's home, they found various magazines and newspaper clippings of the Long Island serial killer, which they call souvenirs or mementos. As far as evidence, prosecutors say DNA, phone records, and Heuermann's internet activity tie him to the killings, as well as hairs that were found on the victims. After the hearing, Heuermann's attorney, Michael J. Brown, told reporters that investigators seemingly have no DNA of the victims on any of the items they removed from Heuermann's home. He said he plans to call into question the company that's been doing the DNA testing, which he said their methods have never been deemed reliable in our state. Next up, quick little Billy Wagner update. He is accused in the murders of 7 members of the Roden family and Hannah Hazel Gilley in what's been dubbed the Pike County Massacre. Did an episode last week about this case being in chaos. The trial was set to begin the first week in January. No clue at this point when it will start, but the request to remove the judge from the case by the prosecution is now in the hands of the Ohio Supreme Court for review, and the prosecution objected to the death penalty being removed by the judge. That is currently being reviewed by the 4th District Court of Appeals. And just a reminder, the judge did rule that the trial could be moved out of Pike County. Last up, talking about Diddy. Brendan Paul, who is said to be Diddy's drug mule, has had his charges dropped, according to his attorney, Brian Bieber. Brendan was arrested earlier this year at the airport in Miami and had been charged with transporting different drugs for Diddy, including GHB, also known as the date rape drug. He completed a pretrial diversion course, which is something they offer a lot to first-time offenders. Brendan is also the subject of a civil lawsuit brought by Lil Rod, where he's accused of running drugs for Diddy, as well as negotiating fees for sex workers hired by Diddy. Lil Rod is suing Diddy for sexual assault and running a sex trafficking ring. Meanwhile, last Friday, there were 3 new civil suits filed against Diddy. His attorney responded saying these complaints are full of lies. We will prove them false and seek sanctions against every unethical lawyer who filed fictional claims against him. Diddy also lost his bid to have an evidentiary hearing where he claims the government leaked tapes from 2016 showing him beating ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Diddy says that the government leaked this video for the purpose of harming his reputation. But in the ruling, the judge said, as to the Intercontinental Hotel video, Combs has not carried his burden to show the government leaked it to CNN. Combs argues the most likely source of the leak is the government, but he doesn't point to any sound basis for this conclusion. The filing also claims the Department of Homeland Security put on a smear campaign to undermine his right to a fair trial by leaking confidential grand jury materials. The filing says the leaks have resulted in damaging and highly prejudicial media coverage, particularly sensationalizing the investigation and the involvement of Mr. Combs' family. The judge went on to say the court once again reminds the government and its agents that if specific information comes to light that they leaked prohibited information, action will be taken. And the court reminds the public that whether the government can prove Combs is guilty in this case will turn on the evidence presented at trial, not in a trial by newspapers. That is the latest in some of the cases we're following. I'm watching everything, so if anything new pops up, I'll let you know. Hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon. We will see you soon.